Hello and welcome to this XCR demonstration. My name is Jamie Simonson and I'll be taking you through the features and functionality of XCR. As you can see, XCR can be configured to work in a multitude of different markets, whether that be general retail, retail grocery, bar, hospitality or restaurant and fine dining. As you can see, for demonstration purposes, it's currently set for hospitality and fine dining. One of the features you can see that is of hospitality fine dining is the XCR blackboard, and what this effectively is just a specials board where the clerk can come up to the till and see the current specials that are running at the moment. They can then select on the product and see a brief description of that. They can also hit the print key, and what they'll do is they'll print it out onto the receipt printer and they can carry that round and reference stuff that for the rest of the night. Obviously, to use XCR you have to identify yourself as a clerk with XCR, whether that be by manually entering in the number, swiping an MSR or RFID tag. And of course, by doing that also you can attach privileges and certain rules to each operator to say whether they can do returns or item minusing and things like that. Obviously, for demonstration purposes, my clerk has everything enabled. So what I'll do is I'll just quickly log in now. As you can see now, we're presented with the main XCR order screen. This is broken down into 4 key areas. The first area here on the left hand side is the order area, which will show order information up along the top, items, sales in the middle, and then the order total along the bottom. Then here in the middle we have the main product area where you can drill down through maps and ring up products by pressing on the keys. Here on the left hand side and along the bottom we have our 2 function areas. And of course, with XCR, all maps are soft, so every key can be defined to do a different functionality based on what the end customer's needs and requirements are. So obviously, just to ring up a product, you drill down through your maps and select on the product, and that'll ring that up onto the main order screen. As you can see here, some of the products have a little number in the bottom right hand corner, and what this is showing you the current on hand stock for that product if it had the stock system set up on that. Also, you can see here a couple of the keys have got an orange cross on the key, and what it is that's just telling you that the current stock has gone down below the minimum rule set up for that product. And with XCR, there's 2 ways in which you can enforce this. One way is by warning and the other way is by stop. And the difference between those two is that with a warning, it'll bring an orange cross up on the key once that on-hand quantity gets below the minimum that you set, but once you get down to 0, it will allow you to sell down below 0. If you had it on stop, it still brings up the warning, but once you get down to 0, it puts a red cross up on the key and you can't sell anymore. So once you've finished with your sale, obviously it's time to tender. You can do that by either entering in the fast tender key along the bottom, or you can go into the main tender screen where then you can select on the payment types that are set up in the system. What I'll do now is I'll show you the XCR reservations and graphical table areas. Obviously, for fine dining, we show a graphical representation of the table and a few other bits of information in here which I'll explain now. As you can see here now on table 1, it's flashing with a purple 2 PM. What this means is that there's going to be a reservation coming in on this table at 2 PM. As you can see here on table 2, it's a different colour, it's red, and also it's got the yellow and black flashing beverage down there. And what that is that's the XCR PSA, which is the poor service alert. And what that's basically saying is that there's a bill being opened on this table, but by the setup in the back office, that a beverage product has not been rung up within the required time. Obviously, to open up a table, we can just double click on it, and then we'll bring up that existing bill. We can ring on some items and hit the save button, and then that saves that away. I'll just create a new table just by double clicking on it. I can then enter in the details of that table if I wanted to, and now I can start ringing up the items. As you can see, some products have been set up to have forced questions, and of course with each of the forced questions inside XCR you can have unlimited amount of pages with unlimited amount of items on them. So as you can see, this is asking for the cooking instructions, the sauce, and then of course the sides that go with that. And of course with each of the products as well, you can manually edit and change the modifiers as well. So if I select on the ribeye now and I go extra, what that will do is that it will bring up the recipe of that product, and then I can choose to whether I can do extra or no. So I can go extra onion, no garlic, and of course that adds that on. Alternatively as well, instead of ringing up a product or a PLU that's set up in the system, I can then go text condiment, and then I can enter in the text, which then adds that text on. I can just save that away. Obviously, when it comes time to tender, I can do so by either entering in a part payment and then tendering off with the rest. Or alternatively, what I can do is I can separately pay for and tag those items off. And to do that, all I do is just select the items, press the tag button, which then tags it across into a separate sub order, and then I can just tender that off. Now I'm left with the existing items on the bill, and then I can tender those as well. Alternatively, you can also tag by seating. So I'll just start up a table now, and now to initiate seating, all you do is you hit the seat button, enter in the seat, and then start ringing on the products. And as you can see here, the product name is being prefixed with the number 1, which means that that's the first person. So I'll now just enter in another seat. And I'll just enter in the last seat. Just save that away. Then once that's done and it's time to tender, all you have to do is then just specify that you're going to be tagging by those seats. Is go seat 1 tag, which then tags that across. Now I can go seat 3 tag and tag that one across. I'm left with seat 2 on the table, and I've got seat 1 and 3 here in my tagging order. Alternatively, instead of tendering, I can choose to transfer. I can transfer that across onto a new table, an existing table, or even my 20th a month account if I had one here. And I'll just tender off the rest of the table. Also as well, if it came to splitting and there was 2 of us on the table and we were going to pay for our mains individually, but there was an expensive bottle of wine, what we can do then is if I open up that table now, I can select that bottle of wine and choose split. And then of course what I can do is I can split that by 2. That creates 2 individual sales. I can select those, tag it, and pay for that individually. Now I'll just pay off the rest of the table. I'll now take you through bar tabs, which have exactly the same features and functionality of tables, except they're just stored in a different area. So I'll just create a new bar tab now, give it a name, and as you can see as well, we can capture credit card data, and what we do is when you swipe the credit card, we then capture that data against the bar tab. We print out a authorization slip for the end customer to sign, and then what they can do is they can use their credit card as the bar tab card, and then what happens is, say, if at the end of the night they leave without finalising their account, we've already captured the credit card data, we've got the authorization slip from the customer, so then we can finalise the bar tab for them. So what I'll do is I'll just create that bar tab, bring on some drinks, and then say throughout the night I keep on ringing onto that account, and then I wish to go into the restaurant to have a meal. So what I can do then is I can then open up that account, and then what I can do then is I can then choose to transfer that, and then of course I can transfer that either through onto an existing table, or I can create a new one on the fly. And save that away, and then of course I can go on and see the table there and then pay that off. What I'll do is I'll show you now bistro and food hall, and what this is basically, we assign a range of numbers to a terminal, and what that'll do is that'll auto generate based off the last number, and what I'll show you here is 3 people coming up to pay. They each want to have an individual receipt, but they want the meal to go out to the kitchen at the same time on the same docket number, and they want to pick it all up at the same time. So what I'll do is I'll start by ringing up the first person's meal. As you can see, the same as the second prefix, it prefixes that with the number 1 to tell you that is person number 1. I then pay for that. It then asks me if I wish to send to the kitchen or continue. We're going to continue on and do another 2 people. So I'll ring up the second person's meal, pay that off, continue on, and then I'll do the third and final person's meal and pay that one. Now what I do is I want to say that I want to send to the kitchen, And of course what that will do then is that it'll send it all out onto the kitchen, onto the one docket, and be all received at the same time. I'll now take you through the XCR client charge accounts. These are in-house accounts that can be set up in two ways. The first way is that it can be a 20th of the month account, meaning that they're able to charge to that account. And what you can do is you can set it up to have a credit limit of say $200, so they can only charge $200 to it. Alternatively, what you can do is you can set up an account to be a cash only client, and what that means is that they have to pay for what they charge to that account before it can be saved away. So this way here you can let those clients participate in the loyalty program if you're running with a points loyalty system, and you don't have to run the risk of giving them a line of credit. What I'll do is I'll just select on the client. As you can see, you can search by name, phone number, email, address, suburb or region. So just by entering in the name, it'll start to filter them out. I can then select their client, go OK. So as you can see, I can see the name of their client, and then of course I can see the points balance and their account number. As I ring up products, you can see that their points balance is increasing, and as you can see, this account, because he's a charge account, I'm also giving him a 5% discount as well on those items. And then of course once he's finished, I can either choose to tender that off, or I can just save that away and charge that to his account. Alternatively, if I had a cash only account, he too can also participate in the loyalty system, but when I go to save, he's a cash only account, and also his products are at full retail as well, and so therefore I have to pay. Also with client accounts as well, you can also set to point them to a different sell level, so they can go to a different level of pricing if you so wish, and then of course you can put a discount on top of that again as well. XCR also has a very extensive promotion scheduler. We can do certain promotions such as mix and match, 4 beers for $12, 10 wines for $100. And also with that scheduler that we can attach to that, you can set it to run on the first day of every month, the first 2 weekdays of the second month, however you set it up. Also with the promotions as well, you can run as many as you want, and of course all it will do is it will just go through and check the order each time you ring up to see if there's an item there. So what I'll do is I'll just start to ring up some beers, and as you can see, once I reach 6, it then notes that there's a 6 beers for $12 promotion, and then grabs those items and reprices. Of course what you can also do as well is you can set it to do what's called quantity break as well. So what would happen is that you can say that it takes 6 beers to then initiate that promotion, and what you can do is you can carry that on for up to another quantity of 10. So what I'll do is I'll start to ring on some more items. It rings those on. The moment that I hit 10 and in my total quantity, it detects that there's a better promotion, so what it does is it breaks the previous promotion and then applies the new promotion and reprices the items. I'll just pay that off. Now with our wines promotion, what I've done is I've said that you can have 10 wines for $100, and as you can see, some of the wines have a varying sale price. So what it does is once it reaches that 10 wines, I've said to apply the discount pro rata based on the sales price. So you're not throwing your GPs out of whack just because you're running a promotion. So as you can see, instead of all 10 bottles of wine just being reduced down to $10, what we're doing is we're actually applying the discount pro rata based on the sales price. So what I'll do is I'll just cash it off. And also as well, we have a mix and match promotion, so you can ring up a Diet Coke, a burger, and then the moment you hit the large fries, it then reprices those items and puts that into the large burger combo. XCR also has a graphical pizza mode, and I'll show you now how that works. You can set up predefined pizzas with recipes, and what you can do is based on the size you can set rules to say as to how many ways the pizza can be split. So if I select on jumbo, then quarter becomes available, and if I select on slab, then slice becomes available. So what I'll do is I'll just do a regular pizza. I say I want to split it into thirds, it then graphically splits that pizza. I can then select a third and say mozzarella and chives on that slice. And of course I can come over to this slice and then go ham. It already knows that ham's in the recipe of the Hawaiian pizza, so what it does is it then notes that as an extra ham. And if I go OK, it then rings that pizza up. Alternatively, instead of also using toppings on a pizza, if I went into a jumbo, say I wanted half, select the other half and go toppings and go add, and instead of adding a topping, I can go, I want to select the pizza and go meat lovers. So that way there, I've then got a Hawaiian jumbo with half meat lovers, half Hawaiian. We also have a home delivery and phone ordering feature. So as you can see, by entering in the client information, if you had a caller display unit, that would then punch in the phone number, and you could start filtering by that. So you can enter in the phone number and it starts to filter out the clients. What I do is I select the client. Now of course, if he doesn't have his details in there, you can add in his address. Just put in some information. And of course you can put in the email. What you can do is then you can specify whether it's a pickup or if it's a delivery. You can then select the delivery date and the time. So I'll just put that at 12 o'clock. Then go OK. It then takes me to the account. I can then select what I'm going to have. So I'll just have a pizza. Go save. And then it's saved that away. And then of course I can come into my delivery list and see what deliveries are there. So then what I can do is I can then print that out to give that to the driver as a receipt. He can then take that with him, and of course when he comes back I can then accept payment for that home delivery. And then of course if I go back into the list, then all I need to do is just say that it's still being delivered, and then it drops out of the list. I'll now take you through our voucher and food stamps function. With the vouchers and food stamps function, what you can do is you can set it up to pre-generate all your vouchers, so you have individual voucher numbers. With those vouchers you can then set the number of times that they can be redeemed against, and then of course with each voucher you can set it to either have a dollar redeem voucher value, or you can set it to have a percentage, where it'll take a percentage off the order total, or you can set it to be complimentary. And of course with all of those settings you can set it to either keep the tax value or include the tax value. What you can do is you can set up certain rules to say that the PLU items have to be over X amount of dollars, or you can set it that this voucher can only be redeemed on orders over $25. So what I'll do is I'll just ring up some spirits, and of course when I go to tender I can go 30% off spirits voucher. It then asks me to enter in the voucher number, so I'll just enter in a voucher number here. And of course it's told me that this voucher has already been redeemed, so then I have to enter in one that is valid. So we do full voucher tracking, so I enter in a new one. It then applies the 30% off, applies that then as a payment, and then of course I'm left to tender off the remaining amount. Alternatively, what we can do is we can create vouchers on the fly to deal with, say, to give out a complimentary voucher. So what it will do is it will auto-generate a voucher ID. Of course you can override this and enter in the manual one if you wanted to. And then of course you can just enter in an amount, so we'll enter in $25. And then of course you can set in the expiry, so we can make it expire next month. And of course you can put in a comment, so we'll say only redeemable on full meal. And of course you hit OK. And then of course what that'll do is that'll go off and print out, and then of course the manager can then sign that away, and then that can be redeemed at a later time. So if I come in now, and I'll just ring up a quick order, I can then come in and go to use my till beverage component. It's going to ask me to enter in the voucher number, which was 14. It then applies that $25, left me with the remaining, and then of course I can just tender that off. It also has support for a fashion matrix, in which we can do a 4x matrix based on the size, colour, style and finishing of a product. This is all set up mainly in the back office, where you then set up your labels, and then your seasons, your years, your base colours, item colours, size, and then finishing and or cup size. What I'll do is I'll just show you it working out here on the till. So there's basically three ways in which you can use the fashion matrix. The first way is to pre-generate all your PLUs out the back using the PLU generator in the maintenance and setup program. This will then go through and generate all the PLUs based on your settings of which sizes support which item colours, etc. Alternatively, what you can do is you can then set up your matrix, which then allows you to drill down at the terminal, and then from there you can then create them on the fly. So what I'll do is, if by hitting the fashion, I can then go into the fashion mode. I can then drill down through the years, the seasons, then the garment types. I'm then presented with the colours, so then I can go into red, and then the size, so I can go small, and then I've got cup size or finishing. This one's only got finishing, so then I go standard. I can see that there's two products there. I can either choose to sell one, or if there is one, or if the product that I want is not there, I can then choose to create that on the fly. So what I can do is just go enter in a product name. I can then enter the price. I can then enter the stock for the sell down if I knew that. And then what we can do is we can then enter in the colour. So what I can do is I can go say field green, and then with that field green I also need to put an abbreviation which will be built up into the name and the SKU. So I'll just put in the FG, and of course I can choose to create. So what you can do is you can just come in and just go create. Or what I can do now is I'll go create and sell. They'll then sell the product, and that's there for me. Alternatively, instead of doing a creation, what I can do is I can just build up a SKU. And what I'll do is basically just hit in SKU, and then ask me for the price. I input the price, and based off the abbreviations from the drill down that we just did previously, it will then create an on-the-fly SKU, as you can see. So then we've got Velvet Men's, 08, Holiday Resort, red, small, standard print. And then what we'll do is, if I did another one, oh, then notice that it's the same product. So when you go to do your POU report at the end of the night or do a sales report, you'll see all of these as the same ones, but just different prices in which they've been sold. XCR also has a full reservation system which ties in with the fine dining module. With the reservation system, of course, you can go in and view and manage your reservations. And of course what you can do is you can create reservations, and with those reservations as well you can assign a group function to them. So what you can do is you can set up to say that this reservation can only have $2,000 on the bar and $1,000 of food, and of course you can set it up at the time of taking the reservation. So as you can see here, we're just presented with the reservation screen. Of course, same as fine dining, you can jump through your different areas. Of course you can go list, and you can go in and see your list of reservations. And what you can do is, as you jump through the times, it then jumps through and shows you the status of the tables, and then also the periods as well. With the periods, you can set up the turnover and also the total period time as well. And of course, by entering in the turnovers, it will automatically work out the ETD of what your table turnovers should be. So the creative reservation, all you do is you just say which time you want the reservation for. So I can say 8 o'clock. Of course, it then starts to update the status to show me what tables would be available at that time. So I can go here on table 3, and then I can go add. What I can do then is, of course, I can select the client if I wanted to. Alternatively, I can just put in the name and information. Say it's a phone reservation, and then of course I can put in the comment. So I can put in birthday cake, and then go OK. What it does is then adds that to the reservation. I can click on it and see the information. I can also go into list, see the information, and then if I jump down via the time, I can then see that reservation there. And if I scroll across, I can then see the comments in that as well. Also as well, you can come into waitlist, and this allows you to add reservations on the fly based on the walk-ins or wait lists that you've got currently if the reservation areas are fully booked. Also what you can do is you can come in and view conflict lists as well to then view current conflicts up against the system. With the XCR multi-language, you can specify a language for an operator and also a language for the attached devices. So what this means is that you could have an English operator who would log into the terminal. All of the products and the screens are shown in English. You could then have a customer display which could be set to be German, so then all the products and information will be shown in German. And then you could have a kitchen printer that's been specified as Japanese, and then all the products and information will print out in Japanese. Just to show you this quickly, I can log in now as an English operator. The screens and the system is shown to me in English, and the products are shown in English. I can then cache off products and everything's exactly the same. I can now log out and log back in, and now I'm into a Chinese operator, so all the system screens are shown in Chinese. And then of course any products or groups that have been translated into that language are also shown in that language as well. And then I can cache that off. And so if I went to any of the other screens, it will then also show translated strings in there as well. XCR also has a multitude of other features as well, such as clerk time and attendance with full US tip credit tracking systems or just standard labour costing reports. We also have clerk order stacking for such as bar environments where clerks can stack orders up against each other and come in and override each other and quick switch between order screens. XCR also has a kitchen video system. As you can see, this can be configured to handle different types of order types such as eat-in, dine-in, takeaway, and also we can have different priority levels as well, such as normal, high and rush. We also track the times and also do average times and countdowns where the status will start to change from green to orange to red once you go over. Also, it can be operated as a touchscreen, so as you can see you've got numbers down the side there. You can just touch on those to then bump away those orders, or alternatively you can attach a bump pad to it and then those numbers will drop away, and then that way you can have 4 or 8 orders on the screen at once. XCR also has a rear advertising module. This acts primarily as a customer display and then also a image rotator advert module as well. So you can have certain rules set up so that it will show this type of advert at the start of an order, another advert at the end of an order, and also we'll do trigger adverts as well, so when you sell this product, show an advert for this product. For more information, please download our demo and review it for yourself, and if you have any further questions, feel free to email. Thank you for your time.